my fellow comic book collectors. Might be unusual, but Mark is back.
Yay!
He's back.
Hello! I'm live.
He's alive. He sort of went out into the world and discovered himself, and um, now he's back, and
Yep,
we're back to the hot lists.
we
And
are.
I made this list this week is purely for Mark. This is all about Mark. This list, it's
Alan
his favorite
knew,
books.
Alan knew I would have suffered withdrawal symptoms from not having seen Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Fantasy 15 for nearly 2 months. So
Yeah.
you can see my hands, I'm suffering withdrawal.
So, so actually, the way I picked the list is, even though it is for you, I picked the most expensive sales that happened in the Silver Age. These are the top 10 sales.
Yeah.
Just happens to be all of Mark's favorites books, but yeah, so
Well, no,
that's
it'd
the way
be
it works.
interesting because having not done this for sort of 6, 7 weeks,
Yeah,
I'm interested to see whether the market has steadied, it's still dropping, or it's
has
maybe
it
got
bounced back a bit?
a
Yeah,
little rise
we'll
on.
see.
So, having been
Hope,
away for that period of time, it will be interesting to see whether what's happened.
yeah, I'm hoping good news, but we'll
Okay,
see what happens. Let's
right.
get into the list.
Let's share the screen. And where are we going? I think we're going somewhere along here. Not that. I
I
think it's
think
this
we're
one.
looking at,
I think we're starting.
yeah, this was the cheapest of the 10.
So we're starting at $3,000. So I'm sorry, guys, if your budget is $10, this is
This list is not for you. Um, but yeah, these were the most expensive sales. So you can sort of see that there were some pretty big sales that happened. Um, Daredevil 1, first Daredevil. I always kind of warn people about this book. They always talk about this and why is it such a affordable book for the Silver Age? Well, it's because there's so many of them on the census.
yeah,
It's
a
like
lot. Yeah.
it came out much later than the other like Silver Age keys
Yeah,
in that
this is 64, isn't it? So
64. So people knew to save the books by that point, because I think this one has like 7,000 on the census or something insane.
yeah. It's a nice one. It's 4.5, decent
Yeah,
grade. It's got his yellow suit on.
yeah,
Didn't last long.
yeah.
Um,
It only lasted like 6 issues, I believe.
yeah. So a 4.5 for 3,000. Doesn't sound like a stunning price.
No, I used to think this book was $1,000 a point.
Uh,
So
Hang on, let's have a look. No, this is on a steady drop.
yeah, actually, let's see if it kind of. What was the previous sale?
The previous sale was 3,000. So actually,
Maybe it's hit the floor.
maybe it's hit the floor. Yes.
You're all over the place. Okay, where are we
What am
going?
I doing? I don't know what's going on. Here we go. There we
Click
go.
on the wrong tabs. Okay, so zoom. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
click
so
on it.
it's at 3,000 and yeah. Okay. So
The
previous
last few.
yeah, it's bouncing around this sort of 3,000, 3,300 level, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, if
So
you draw a
that's.
line through this, I'd say that's a downward trend.
Oh yeah. So yeah, downward trend from the peak, but upward trend from the original trend line.
Yes, because this was historically a hugely undervalued first appearance, and it's gone up, but it's way up on where it was pre-COVID. Um,
Hmm.
so I think it's going to settle around this 3,000 mark.
Yeah, I think so too. And one of the things that I'd actually like to calculate at some point is when will prices get back to COVID levels? If they go back to the original trend lines, where would the trend line, how many years would it have taken for the trend line to have gotten to the COVID thing?
Yeah, I mean this one
To
is
sort of
slightly,
approximate, right?
yeah. I mean this one is slightly unusual in that it was undervalued, and I think it was due a re-rating anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure how undervalued it is. I think that was more of a myth in a way because of the fact that there's like look, as I said, almost 7,000 on the census.
Yeah, 6,484. There's a lot of them.
Mm. Whenever I see those large census counts, I get a little nervous about the books.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this isn't, these ones with large numbers is not where I would invest large sums of money. Uh,
Hmm.
because we've seen they're hugely volatile. Hulk 181, for instance, of which there are
Yeah,
loads,
crazy number of copies.
crazy number of copies, is very, very volatile and has fallen hugely. Um,
Well, the thing is, the problem with big books in a weird way is that if I ever need money, let's say the market's a little bit soft in life, what am I going to do? I'm going to sell the
yeah,
one of the bigger things I
yeah,
have. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So it it's just prone to get flooded on the market is my concern.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Whereas if you buy something that genuinely is rare with two or 300 copies,
Hmm.
that's not going to happen. The market can't be flooded because there isn't enough to flood it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one thing I'm always a little bit nervous with this one, but I mean it's still a great book. Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong.
yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
it's a nice book. Yeah,
and there's enough demand out there that this is worth what it's worth. But yeah. And if ever does get flooded on the market, good time to buy.
yeah, yeah. True, true. If this drops back to $1,000 again, I'll be in. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
X-Men number 50, a beautiful cover. Uh,
Yeah.
this is a really nice cover. Polaris,
First Polaris cover and Stranko.
and it's Jim Steranko, isn't it? Oh, look at that cover.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's probably it's one of the most popular or like iconic covers, I would say, or most beautiful, I'd say. I don't know. It's a great cover.
It's a stunner. This is a cover by it just is a great cover, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the first
Definitely.
appearance of Vision and that cover.
Yeah, that's another one that has a really great cover.
So really nice. First appearance of Polaris, Jim Steranko. Oh, second appearance of Polaris, first cover, I think.
Yeah, first cover, second appearance. Also, I think it's the first X-Men with the X-Men like that,
Oh, okay.
where it's like, I mean, the title,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um, like the old title was slightly different looking.
It's a nice 9.6. Can't be many 9.6s around. Yeah, very nice. 3360. Let's have a look. Holding at a reasonable level is what I'd say.
Actually, it's quite high. If you look at the spike, it's
So
so massive.
pre-COVID, 825. COVID peaks at 4,000 and it's holding at 3,000. I think this one does another one, a bit like the last one, that maybe was undervalued pre-COVID. COVID peak has come and people still got this up, way above where it was pre-COVID.
Yeah. Um, I think this is one that people realize that they really love,
Yeah.
and they,
How many?
uh,
I bet there aren't as many of this as there are of the
no, no, this is much rarer.
half the amount. Yeah.
Yeah, like 3,000. I mean, that's normal for a Marvel Silver Age. Um, yeah, I mean, it looks like it's actually kind of coming back up again. If you look at the little tip at the end, like it's
I mean, in the scale of things, it's
like
diminished.
what was the previous sale? The previous sale was 2,700.
I've got sale here of 2,880.
Oh, okay. I can't quite read this. It's so small on my screen.
So it's
But
it's holding. It's holding.
yeah, and it's come up a little bit from even just prior sales.
Yeah, it hasn't dropped back down here, for instance.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the trend line, the old trend
Oh,
line,
it's way
it's
above
shaped,
that.
yeah, it's like maybe 2 or 3 times above that, I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So this one's still holding strong.
yeah.
But maybe it's part of the reason for that might be just the grade. I think this is either the highest or second highest grade for this book.
Well, there's 71 of them, Alan.
Yeah, yeah. But still,
Well,
it's one of those
there's
books
no nine
like
nines. So
there's
yeah,
yeah, so this is the second highest grade.
yeah,
And it's one of those books that when collectors buy it, they want to get that super, super high grade because it is like a cover buy. You want to get the most pretty copy of it. So I think that could be part of the reason why it's holding a bit better.
yeah,
So still, yeah, very nice book.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, oh, here we go.
Here's
Amazing
your first Spider-Man one.
Spider-Man. ASM 3.
And this is like the first Doc Ock. Um, this one had really spiked during the COVID time.
It's
There was
got
a there was a there was a massive sale for one.
I'm surprised that Dan written on the front cover doesn't reduce it below the 5.5. It's not brilliant, is it? That's
Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit off cut too. Look, if
yeah,
you like, so
really squiffy.
yeah. And then there's a corner crunch at the very bottom too.
Yeah, there is.
See what I'm saying? Or chip or whatever.
So I mean, it's done well to get a 5.5. I think.
Yeah, I would have graded it probably 5 range. I mean, it's other than the Dan off centering thing and chip at the bottom, you know, uh, it's pretty clean. Other than that,
Okay, so here we go. I mean, it's a key comic. 553480. How's Spidey doing? How's he been doing while I've been away? Well, he's still falling by the looks of it.
I think he's on the floor though. I think this, it looks like it's again kind of coming up. It
Yeah,
looks like
looks
what we're
like
seeing
it's
is
just about stabilizing here.
yeah. So what we're seeing is this big crash, right? And then it looks like just sort of a little
I mean, it's
kind of
almost
little
on trend, isn't it?
yeah.
It's
This one's
almost
very on
on
trend.
trend pre-COVID. It's almost on trend.
So what was the pre-COVID price for this book? Let's see what,
Well, December 2019 was 2.7.
and now it's going for 3.4.
Yeah,
So kind of in line
yeah,
with,
I think it's about on trend if you take out the COVID peak.
yeah. Okay. And this one has a few less on the census, like around, yeah,
3,000.
3,200.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So far, I think everything is doing well.
Looks like a holding pattern at the moment, Alan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's better than a crash. That's my,
Yeah, well, here we go. Another usual suspect, Avengers #1.
and this is another one where I always think of it as being $1,000 a point.
Okay, well, it's a bit under that.
Yeah,
Do like this cover actually.
yeah, it's quite nice. It's a very cool. It's just so much going on. I like the fact
I'll
that
tell you what, this 5.0 looks a lot better to me than that 5.5 we just looked at.
I know. Yeah, actually, no, I can tell you why it's a 5.0. Look
Why?
at the very bottom.
Oh, this here.
That killed it. And then there's a big corner
Oh,
on
that's a
the
big
where his
corner
hand is.
crease.
Yeah,
Yeah, this fading's killed it, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
And it's
But
got
it does look. Other than that, it's really sharp, and
yeah,
it's got
the top
actually.
half of it looks really good.
Yeah, there's some chipping along, not chipping, but color breaking spine ticks along the side as well. This is one of those books because of that dark green, you can see a lot of the imperfections a bit better. You know what I mean? But still, nice looking book.
Really nice book. Right.
Um,
And somebody got it for 4,680. That sounds like a good price to me. Somebody's got a bargain, I think. Oh, yeah, this is still. Ooh, yeah, it's a little bounce. There's a little bounce here. Again, it's similar. Is it the
so what
bottom? It's up.
what
bit from the bottom. It's up from
Let's look at the last three sales. So
uh,
last
so last three sales. This one was a 54560, 4680 is the one we just had, 3951. So it's up a bit from the bait.
yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up again.
Yeah, yeah. And go pre-COVID, 3.6. So well, yeah, I think it's on trend. I think that's on trend. I think it's on long-term trend.
Yeah, so it's not. I don't know. So far, everything seems to be kind of recovering a little bit, I would say.
Yeah, I would say. I would say
Not going to ever go back to the
no. I
previous
mean,
point.
what's encouraging here is that I think that these are not below the long term. We had a couple unusual ones where the pre-COVID price was low, so the stabilizing price is quite a lot higher than the trend price, which is good. And
Mhm.
these last couple, for me, they're on the long term trend.
Yeah. So one thing I find that, it's been long enough that we've been away from that COVID bump, that we've now seen the market kind of figure out what that bottom is, that the floor price is, and now it's kind of getting back onto a new
Well,
trend line, if
I
I
hope
guess.
so. I hope so. Don't think it's finally sorted yet. It isn't stable enough for me. I would like to see a bit more of an obvious uptrend.
Hmm. So
Is
one thing I was thinking about, and this is like just an idea that I had in terms of the market overall, is I would actually say, even though the price is kind of on that trend line, the trend line hides something that we don't really talk about that much in comics, which is inflation.
uh-huh.
So for the longest time, inflation was kind of like around 1-2%.
Hmm.
But in the last 3 years,
Yes, that's true.
um, it's been around 9, maybe 10%
Yeah,
even.
you're right, Alan. You're right.
So actually, right now, if you think about it, the books are actually way below the
Yes,
historic
you
prices.
did an inflation. Yes, you're right. So although that is on the trend line, the fact that we've had a couple of years of high inflation probably means it's actually lower than it
Yeah,
trend line. Yeah, good point.
yeah.
Good point.
So something I've been thinking about more and more, and I was like, thinking this is something that collectors should be aware of.
Yeah.
So I think that once the economy kind of gets restabilized, right now it's just too shaky. There could be another kind of correction, where prices get back to the trend line, what it should be based on inflation, if that makes sense. Where there would be like almost like a jump, like all of a sudden in the prices. It's just something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, no, I think you've got a good point there. Right.
Okay, so what's the census on this one? This one has a fairly high census too because it's a number one
Oh,
issue.
yeah, it is high. 5.5.
Yeah, I knew it was a little higher. I always love this book though. It's a cool book.
It is a cool book.
Okay, so is that my five, or is we got
So
one more?
1, 2, 3, 4. You've got one more.
One more. One more.
Oh, it's a Fantastic Four, Alan. And that
Yeah.
for number one, it isn't a record edition, is it? It's not one of these record ones.
No, we we made that mistake before.
Um, it's a low grade. It's a 1.5, but looks okay.
Almost an entry level book. You know what I mean? Where the lowest you can get in to get into this book. It's not a bad looking 1.5.
It's not. It's all there.
Yeah. There's no like big chunks missing.
No.
So that's, yeah. You can
Yeah,
see the spine's a little bit mangled, but yeah.
the spine's mangled, which is why it's a 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And going for 6.3. Well,
So this one, I think of it as around $5,000 a point. That makes sense.
right, so it should be so at 7.5. Let's have a look. Oh dear.
Yeah. It's actually below the trend line. I
Uh,
told you, I think it around the
this
five
is
thousand
this
dollar
is this
one
is not
point.
great. This is surprising because I'd have thought Fantastic Four is one of the
Yeah,
one where the franchise should be on the up.
kind of,
But we've got a movie.
yeah, I mean, there's a movie coming, you know, so there's spec there, and it's you know, it's considered to be the in terms of Marvel, this is really the book that realigned Marvel to the, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of the
Oh, yeah,
Silver
yeah,
Age.
yeah. It was the start
Uh,
of the Silver Age for Marvel.
yeah.
Yeah, not very. I would say it's a bit below the. If you go pre-COVID, your
What's pre-COVID price was,
pre-COVID price is about 5,000.
so it's still up,
Yeah, but
compare that, but
it's as it given, especially given your inflation thing, I'd have said
yeah.
that's below the long-term trend from pre-COVID.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's again, I like looking at the last three sales. It kind of gives you a sense of what's happening.
Well, so we're 6,000, 5,8, and 6,3.
Okay, so it's sort of coming around that
It-
6,000.
it's hovering around between 5,8 and 6,3. Yeah, around the 6,000 mark.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, based on that, the new price per point would be like
1.25.
geez, 1.25.
Yeah, so you got so it's a 1.5, isn't it? So 5,000
Yeah.
for the one and 0.25, just about 0.3, maybe 1.3. But I don't know where it works out. What's a two, for instance? So a two should be 10,500 or something like that. There you go.
Yeah, 10,500.
Yeah, we're
But
obviously using
but the last
5,000.
sale was 9,000.
Yeah, exactly. For the one,
Oops.
yeah.
Yeah, so okay. So a two is that $5,000 per point. That's always what I have in my mind.
Hmm.
So I love you know, that's one of the cool things that if you get used to that per point concept, you know, like what the price should be per point, you can sort of guess at what the value of any book is because you just know the per point kind of pricing for it. Yeah, that's one thing I always try to embrace. I mean, this one, look at the census. It's really low compared to the other ones. You know,
Yeah,
it's around 2,900.
yeah, it's a rarer book. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it. It's got, you know, the first appearance of
No,
the
it's great.
Fantastic
Yeah,
Four,
no,
and
it's brilliant. Yeah.
uh,
And it launched 1,000 homages.
yeah, exactly. I was thinking that too. My favorite is the Disney one, but yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I got a few copies of that.
yeah. Okay, so overall, we're seeing some stability in the market, kind of hanging out at the floor for the market. Um, will the biggest books of the week follow that trend? We'll see. But in order to see that, you have to go over to Mark's channel and see the top five biggest sales of the week.
Can't
And
wait.
thanks for
I cannot
yeah,
wait to see
yeah,
how.
thanks for coming back, by the way. I thought we lost you to the wilds of Europe.
No,
So
I have been down into the depths of Croatia, but I have
mhm.
returned. Um,
Okay,
so
cool.
yeah.
Okay, so bye. Everyone go over to Mark's channel. Bye.
See you later.